Hi, I'm Dr. Claudia Six. I'm a clinical sexologist and relationship coach. I was born and raised in Paris, France. I don't have a sexy accent, but I grew up with an openness around sexuality, and I never had the birds and the bees because I asked questions at a very young age. And growing up, I decided I wanted to be a sex therapist. So I got a master's degree in psychology, I got a PhD in clinical sexology. Over the years, I wrote a book. Here's my book. I did a TED Talk. I became adjunct professor at USF, yada, yada. And over the years, I have developed my philosophy about relationship and sexual issues. And sexual issues are never about sex. They're always about the relationship. And so when people work with me, what I look at is unresolved trauma. Trauma isn't always terrible things that happen to you. Sometimes trauma is good things that should have happened and didn't, like attachment issues, a mother who had postpartum depression, that kind of thing. So there's unresolved trauma. There's unexamined erotic integrity, which is my book, again. Erotic integrity is about knowing who you are authentically as a sexual being, because often suffering around sexuality comes when people think they're supposed to be a certain way. They're supposed to be monogamous, they're supposed to be heterosexual. And I sort of broaden the scope of who somebody is as a sexual being and really examine what is true and authentic for everyone. Sexual issues which transpire in relationship issues are also about ineffective communication. Everybody who comes to me complains about communication. So I teach communication skills. And there's also faulty beliefs that are at play based on our family history, our life history. I determine what somebody's emotional fingerprint is and the faulty beliefs that they have about themselves. Like, if you grew up in a big family with lots of kids, maybe you feel like there's no room for your needs. And that shows up in bed. And that shows up in the bigger picture of how you show up in the world. If you have a faulty belief about, I have no voice, that also shows up in your relationships and in your sexual relationship. So these are some of the things that I look at. So if we're building a house, for example, the details of what you're actually doing sexually, that might be shingles on the roof. Those are just details. It might be choreography or mechanics. And these are hard conversations for people to have. And I've been doing this for over 30 years. And I make these conversations easy. If this sounds like it would be helpful to you, I invite you to go to my website, drsix.net, DRSIX.net, and at the very top there's a strip, book a free consultation, and we can take it from there.